Parsons, you're on the air.
Good morning, Brian. Did I just hear you say Father Brian Callahan?
Yeah,
so I take it you're going as a priest.
I'm not going. I am. I'm gone. You can check out our socials, Pam. Maybe while we're talking to see what Greg Smith just posted, but on our VOCM Twitter account, just to get an idea of what you're talking to here this morning. How you doing?
I'm doing good, thank you. Good morning to you, of course, and all your listeners. I wanted to call in, of course. Last night I attended the Royal Canadian District 2. It's the actual launch of the Poppy campaign. And they hosted down at Carbonear in Branch 23. And, of course, that encompasses all the Legion branches here in my region. Mm-hmm. Certainly all the Legions from Harbour Grace-Port de Grave district were represented there, as well as the Legions obviously outside in Carbonear and up in Brigus. And it was really great to see people, and it was a lovely turnout. And I would just like to thank them. It was a lovely service. And it's very important because, as we know, it's these men and women, the Legionnaires, who ultimately take the lead in doing what they can to protect and to ultimately support veterans. So it was great to be there, and I thank them for that.
You better
and of course, I encourage each and everybody. So that Poppy campaign kicks off. I think it's the first officially. But you know what? Newfoundlanders and Labradorians are really good at supporting this initiative each and every year. I think we take a lot of pride in our history, our war history, our military history. Obviously, we have some great heritage that goes way back, and I know Newfoundlanders and Labradorians are very proud of that. So hats off to everyone, and let's have a great, successful Poppy campaign. Also, I want to give a shout out to the Recreation Committee, Debbie Shepherd in Spaniards Bay, who leads the Rec Committee in Spaniards Bay, as well as the Haunted House Committee. It's become an amazing event. They had, I think, it's multiple haunted houses they put on each and every year.
I've heard about this. I'm going to give you a minute now to just try to do your best to describe it.
Well, I'm telling you, I love Halloween. I love the season. I love the genre itself. And I stopped in there last night after I came up from the Poppy campaign. It was their last night. And some of those characters, they have all the classics like the Jason, the Michael Myers, the Pennywise clown. And these creepy characters that they have created, but it's all very, very real and very professional looking. And they got a couple of good scares out of me, I must say. And but again, I love it and I enjoy it, and I know they have a lot of fun doing it. So hats off to all those volunteers. It's certainly in the town of Spaniards Bay, there's counselors on there. I know Debbie Newman, Councillor Newman. She also does she's passionate about this as well, and everybody who's involved. So hats off to that. They draw huge crowds. People come from all over Conception Bay North to come to this, and it's amazing. Congratulations to them.
You know as well as I do, growing up, the elaborate nature, how it's changed since we were growing up. I mean, there were some good costumes, but wow, today it's just taken another level. There's some great houses like the Winter Home here in St. John's, that one out there. There's some ones around that there's just too many to get into. And I just want to go back to the Poppy campaign for a minute. I know it's a small thing. The work they do is incredible, and I feel like such a small person for complaining about the Poppy that I can't never keep in my jacket or my lapel. I've had the clip, I've had the sticker, I've had the fastener, I've had everything. It doesn't matter. The seatbelt takes it all off, right? And so just remember,
you're right. I'm with you. I mean, I've often been stabbed by those poppies myself. Like as you said, the seatbelt. But they certainly do a great job. And I mean, it's more opportunities to buy another poppy. To support them and to keep buying those poppies.
You took the words out of my mouth. I was going to say the good news is buy 4 or 5 and keep them as backups and contribute for every single one of them to contribute to the campaign. Pam, let me ask you, how's life on the other side?
Well, we're still waiting to be sworn in.
It's early.
We're not actually sworn in yet as MHAs. But that said, and again, I did call in to thank my constituents here in the district of Harbour Grace-Port de Grave. We had an amazing voter turnout in the advance poll as well as election. The voter turnout was pretty good here, very, very strong here in Harbour Grace-Port de Grave. So again, thank you to my constituents. Again, this is my 4th general. But as you mentioned, it's a different role now going in. It will be my first time serving in opposition. Mm-hmm. So, and on that note too, it's very interesting. I will say I am concerned to see the cabinet portfolios that we've seen just the other day at the cabinet swearing in. As you know, I'm a former minister for women and gender equality, and I'm very disappointed to see that standalone portfolio has now been absorbed into a larger portfolio, justice and public safety. And if I'm not mistaken, I think fire and emergency services is also lumped in with that same portfolio. And again, I congratulate my colleague Helen Collin Ottenheimer. She's my neighboring MHA. Certainly, she's a great member, and I congratulate her on that. And again, and this is not about her credentials or her credibility, but my concern for many of these members, how they're literally doubled and tripled up on these portfolios. For example, health. I mean, this is a leader. And I congratulate the new Premier, Tony Wakeham, campaigned on fixing healthcare. And I mean, there were a list of promises. And to give a health minister, as we know, Brian, health is most of the budget, as my colleague Lisa Dempster said yesterday online, most of our budget goes to healthcare, health and community services. I know what I heard on the campaign trail, and long before the campaign trail, about the concerns and the wait times, and even your listener. Prior to my call, I heard he made some good points, valid points. But to give a health minister two other significant portfolios, such as in reconciliation and Indigenous affairs and reconciliation, as well as Labrador affairs, as well as health and community services, I don't know. I'm extremely concerned about that. And again, the same thing with women, gender equality. I mean, I know it was a standalone committee when we had that originally started as a standalone with Premier Dwight Ball. And then Premier Andrew Furey expanded the mandate from status of women to women and gender equality, which involves, of course, members of the 2S LGBTQIA+ community. Missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls is also under that. And, of course, the many equity and equality-seeking stakeholders in this province, ultimately to combat gender-based violence. We know gender-based violence is a crisis. It's an epidemic. We've said that on record here in Newfoundland and Labrador. We know it's happening across the country, perhaps even across the North America, what we're seeing. And I just hope it gets the attention and the resources and the time that it needs to do it justice, because there is a lot of work to be done.
No, there absolutely is. And again, as I mentioned, I was in a scrum yesterday. God, the days. It might have been Wednesday. With the former Premier Hogan came out to do his opposition thing and asked him the same question. He was criticizing that 1 hour or 2 hours after the government was sworn in and the cabinet was announced. I mean, we know this is our usual thing. I mean, first, the new government comes in, the cabinet is always leaner to show that, they're going to be lean and clean and mean and they're going to clean things up and try to make it more efficient and tight. I mean, this happens to I think you can look back historically and see it every time. So, as I said to the former Premier, is it a little early to be, raising alarm bells? I mean, no, it's not in the title of it. And I agree, health, the word health should be front and center in a portfolio for a government department. But it doesn't mean anything, really. I mean, what matters is when the rubber hits the ground and what they do with it. As you said, you hope they do give it the attention. And so far, it's been about 2 days. I think it's a little early to say whether that they will or won't. If they don't, the proof will be in the pudding, and we can have at it. But other than that, it seems like low-hanging fruit at this point. I mean, you got to go after that, because really, so far, there's nothing else.
Well, you say leaner and meaner, or rather for this cabinet. So I think it's by 2 cabinet seats. But again, with the way people are doubled and tripled up, it will likely be that cabinet may be extended. I don't know if the cost savings, the mere cost savings that will be saved by the 2 cabinet seats, maybe they're saving up because of those 4 new ferries that Premier Tony Wakeham promised that he's going to build here in Newfoundland and Labrador, or to go toward a referendum. As we know, he has promised a referendum. He has said he would take the MOU to a referendum to give Newfoundlanders and Labradorians their say. He made that very crystal clear about this MOU. As we know, we don't know what's going to happen with that MOU at this point. Disappointing to see the letter released by Michael Wilson. There's not much.
Disappointed to see the release of it?
Well, not disappointed. No, absolutely. To release it, absolutely. But to see that there's really nothing in that letter that's big and scary. I guess that was led up to be.
Well, then why didn't the Liberals release it?
Well, I tell you, I want to know more about the MOU.
No, but I'm wondering
about the escalating clause.
Yeah, but I want to go back. Why didn't the Liberals release it if there's nothing scary in it?
Well, I guess that would be a better, question for our leader per se, because I'm, wasn't on that file per se. But
Okay.
But disappointing again to be back on that, because there's really not much in that letter. And again, I've heard, I would question Mr. Wilson. I mean, how many meetings did he actually attend while he was on the panel? But again, someone who was on that panel maybe come out and shed some light on that. But again, about the MOU, we're going to be interested to see what's going to happen. I think the Premier said yesterday he's going to go to an independent review. So, but time is ticking on this, as we know.
Yep.
$250 billion to come to Newfoundland and Labrador that we've never seen before, is at stake.
There is
and
a
again,
lot,
an escalating clause.
Yep.
What the 69 deal did not have the escalating clause in there. But again, more information I'm sure we'll hear in the coming days. I know that we're supposed to be in the House of Assembly now according to the parliamentary calendar.
Yep.
So I'd call on the Premier to reconsider these cabinet cuts that he's done, to give these cabinet portfolios the resources and the attention that they're going to need. And let's get back in the House of Assembly and let's get at it, because we're certainly eager. There's a lot of work to be done, and there's a lot to talk about, as you know, Brian.
Yeah, Pam, 100% with you, especially on the promises that you mentioned. Like, there is a lot to that, and it remains to be seen how they can manage that with the fiscal situation that we have, and without the MOU and the money that would flow from that. So I'm with you 100%. Time will tell. The proof will be in the pudding. It's very early days, but they have a lot on their plate, and so do you. So I wish you nothing but well in the next session, and thanks for the call. And do you got a costume tonight? What's your costume?
I've got a few, actually, costumes, but I'm going to keep it a little secret because I'm not quite sure.
Okay.
But I look forward to receiving the trick-or-treaters. But again, congratulations to the new government and, of course, everybody who was sworn in as cabinet. We look forward to getting together. And ultimately, we're all in this for the better good of everyone in Newfoundland and Labrador. So, let's get at it. There's a lot of great work to be done. So I look forward to that. And I look forward to speaking with you again, Brian.
1,000%. Thanks, Pam. It's great to always hear you.
Okay, take good care.
Okay, you too. Thanks.